Hey everybody, what's a good word? Listen, I'm at one of my record stores here. It's a record store where they usually get new releases in, first day release, and that's a rare thing these days. You know, these days you got to depend on going online and ordering stuff. And I like this place because when something new comes out, you know you can pretty much go in there the day of release and get it. And that harks back to the good old days that we remember. And it's a beautiful day, and these days are becoming less frequent where our favorite artists are coming out with new releases, and we can actually get them at a store instead of online in cyberspace. So I'm here to get the new Paul McCartney Explorer's edition. Yeah, I'm picking up another one, and we'll talk about that after I get it. Well, unfortunately, they didn't get the vinyl in at this place today. They were supposed to get it, but it didn't arrive. So I picked up the CD, but I also had my punch card filled out to the max. So what I did was I also got this free album. Ringo Goodnight Vienna reissue, free with the purchase for the punch card being full. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about this release itself. Stop the presses, everybody. I was actually able, at the last minute, who even knew, to find a copy of the vinyl. It's a 3-record set, 180 gram black vinyl. This was actually being stocked, a couple of copies they got, not many, at my regular record store. And I didn't think of even going there because, quite frankly, they don't usually have new vinyl releases right on the first date. It usually takes them a while, if at all, to get them. They specialize in really nice condition used stuff. So this was really kind of a surprise, pleasant surprise. And I'm going to just show you. I opened it up already. You don't have a gatefold here. What you have here is just, you know, one opening sleeve there where you have the 3 albums. And the inner sleeves are really sturdy. You know, I like that they all have this kind of, you know, red design that is going for this particular Explorer's edition. And, you know, all the lyrics and credits are there, especially the lyrics for the bonus tracks, which is nice. So, glad I'm able to actually get these. And, of course, by now, you all know the look of the labels, more or less, right? Oh yeah, and I forgot, there's also a download card here. This card offers you a free MP3 download of all songs. Yeah, thanks a lot. Really need this, you know. Before I get started, I want to say, you know, Paul McCartney has always done this. He's always had extra bonus features. He's done it with his 45 B-sides back in the 70s. He did it when CDs came in. You had to buy CD singles with bonus tracks on them. And in a way, it was kind of fun to try to get that 1 or 2 odd tracks that were hanging around elsewhere where you couldn't get them on the proper albums. He's continued that, of course, now with his Archives edition that he puts out of all his albums, and even with this Egypt Station, the most recent album that he had out last year in 2018. But, you know, even for me, it's getting a little bit too much. And I think a lot of people are feeling the same way, a lot of fans. I think it's unprecedented, the amount of different variations of any one album that Paul has ever done. Maybe because he feels this may be his last. I don't know if that's the case. I'm just guessing. I hope it's not. I hope Paul's got another album or so in him. But, you know, I've always felt that the Egypt Station album itself, I maintain the feeling, is pretty good, but it's not great. A lot of people, I think, personally, are kind of overblowing it, making it kind of like, you know, overrated in my eyes. I don't think it's as great as everybody, a lot of people, I should say, not everybody, making it out to be. So it's kind of frustrating when you have to go around and buy a lot of different releases to try to get extra tracks. And I haven't done that with everything, even though I'm somewhat of a completist when it comes to Beatles and solo Beatles stuff. You can't have everything. It's impossible, nor can you afford everything, nor do you really want every little thing. Excuse the joke there, Beatles reference. So I passed up a number of items that came out. There was Egypt Station on red vinyl, I passed. Egypt Station on green vinyl, I passed. Egypt Station on from Paul's website on orange and blue vinyl, I passed. Geez, and this is like the third CD. We had a CD that came out, the regular standard album, which I bought, and then a Target exclusive for the Target stores with 2 bonus tracks. I bought that. And this is the third CD, because this one has a separate disc with 10 bonus tracks on it. And, recently there was the Traveler's Edition. Traveler's Edition, something that costs something like $400 when you include the shipping into it. It's a big giant suitcase. Nice suitcase, pretty nice for a piece of memorabilia. But the actual music that's inside is nothing really extra than what you have right here. So for $25 plus tax, I was able to get the music rather than spending $400. Not a knock on anybody who bought the suitcase. It just was too pricey for me. If the suitcase was down a couple of $100 down or something like that, maybe $250 less than the asking price, I might have considered getting it. But it has a lot of extra stuff in it that I just don't see spending the money on it. It's not that this extra stuff isn't that fantastic. I know I'm all over the place, but I wanted to touch all bases on this. So here we are with the Explorer's Edition, the latest name. What's the next one going to be? Is Paul going to come up with a name for the next one? I'm sure a lot of people reading the comments here will be able to come up with a name. And this contains 2 discs, 2 CDs. It's got disc 1, the whole album itself, the regular album, which how many times do we have that now? And as I said, disc 2 has bonus tracks on them, 10 of them. You have 2 of the tracks that were already available if you bought the Target exclusive, which I did. And those 2 tracks are Get Started and Nothing for Free. Now let me just talk about those 2 tracks again. The more I hear them, the more I'm getting to really like them. Get Started is a nice bonus track that starts off this disc. It's a good way to start it, by the way. I think that's a good opening track for the bonus disc. The second one, Nothing for Free, I'm going on record again. I said I like that one, uncharacteristically of me. I really like it. It was produced by Ryan Tedder. Tries to have a modern sound to it, and I love it. I love the chorus on Nothing for Free. The more I hear this song, and especially this time when I played the disc in my car on the ride home from the record store, the more I hear Nothing for Free, the more I am digging it, and I think it's a fantastic track. I love the chorus, and luckily we get a little booklet that comes in here that has all the lyrics. Lyrics of the bonus tracks too. So you get everything there. And modern sounding, yeah, it is. But I love the chorus of Nothing for Free. Paul still has enough of his McCartneyisms in there. So that's why, even though it's very modern sounding and following the pop trends of today, it sounds better than anything I've heard on the radio, and when you're eating at restaurants or when you're going places in malls, shopping malls, and you hear the pop music of today. The part there in the middle that says, I know you need something, you're talking to me, I know you need something, what can it be, what can it be? That whole bit, that chorus, I love that. I love Paul's voice in there, I love the sound of it. So anyway, those are the first 2 bonus tracks, and they're already released. Now we have Frank Sinatra's Party. That's one of the new ones. Frank Sinatra's Party, I talked about that elsewhere. Frank Sinatra's Party has a reggae flavor to it. I think it's a fun track. I think Paul's voice is pretty good on it too. Kind of interesting to note that a lot of people informed me, I hadn't been aware of it, that it's actually an old song that Paul did in the 70s. At least the music backing is. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I didn't do the research. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. This time I didn't. So it's kind of an older song that's kind of been revamped, I think, here, Frank Sinatra's Party. But even more than that, I enjoy the next bonus track, 62nd Street, which everybody knows sounds a lot like Simon and Garfunkel's 59th Street bridge song that goes Feeling Groovy. That Simon and Garfunkel track. Well, this kind of sounds like a takeoff on that, and the fact that it's called 62nd Street makes me wonder if it wasn't a conscious thing. But Paul sounds really good on there. His whistling, his Paul McCartney-isms. Really nice track. And I got to say, the first 4 tracks here Get Started, Nothing for Free, Frank Sinatra's Party, and 62nd Street I like much better than some of the tracks that made the Egypt Station regular album. I would gladly take off tracks like, just for me personally, this is all subjective, everybody has their own picks. I'd gladly knock off, say, Do It Now, let's see, definitely Back in Brazil. That would be the first to go. I know we have a lot of fans of that. Back in Brazil, Do It Now, maybe Hand in Hand, maybe People Want Peace, or maybe even Despite Repeated Warnings. I think Despite Repeated Warnings is just a failed attempt, very ham-fisted at trying to be very current and try to get in on, the politics that are going on right now. And it's a suite, but it's really a forced suite, nowhere near as good as Band on the Run or Uncle Albert or anything else. So anyway, there's a lot of tracks I could have taken off for those, the new songs. Now, the fifth bonus track here on disc 2 is, let's see, Who Cares, the full-length version of Who Cares. It's the same song that's on the regular Egypt Station album. It's a rocker from Paul. And this has an extra guitar bit at the end. I don't know how long it goes on. I want to say maybe anywhere from one to 2 minutes extra guitar playing at the end of it. It's good guitar playing. I enjoy it. Do I really need it? No. I'd say the Who Cares full-length version is disposable, but that doesn't mean that what's here is not somewhat enjoyable, because I'm enjoying it. I enjoyed it, but I could do without it. I could live without it, is what I should say. Okay? It's not essential. Now, the next track is the most controversial one on here, I think. It's the track that Paul dropped on New Year's Eve of 2019. It came on the internet, and it's a song called Get Enough, and almost nobody likes that song. Whether you're a casual Beatles fan or a diehard Paul fan or apologist, nobody seems to really love that song, Get Enough, and you could put me in that camp too. I thought, and I still think, it's one of the worst songs Paul's ever done, and that's in his entire catalog. If I was looking at the bottom 5 songs, I'd probably put Get Enough down there. Now, the Get Enough, I would say, believe it or not, though, it's a short song here. It's only just under 3 minutes, and the fact that it appears on this bonus disc actually worked in its favor, crazy enough. I still didn't like it much, but I gotta tell you, coming along here at track number 6, after you've heard the first 5, and I've enjoyed the first 5 tracks, I didn't mind sitting through Get Enough. I still don't think it's very good, but it's harmless in this particular form. That's the whole thing, A lot of these tracks, sometimes you'll hear a song and on its own, it's really nothing to speak of if you just hear it by itself. But sometimes if you put it in context of an album, you can let it play and it fits in a little better and it doesn't bother you, maybe even works a little bit. I didn't think it was as awful as I thought, maybe even interesting this time, so we're getting there. Okay. Then we have the rest of the songs on here. The rest of the 4 tracks are all live cuts. We have a version of Come On To Me that says Live at Abbey Road Studios, and that's pretty good. I like that. I love the song Come On To Me. It's my favorite track off Egypt Station, and I think it's a good pop single that had a better chance had it been released years before, when people were actually listening and playing Paul's stuff on the radio. It's a good song. And then you have For You, another controversial track, live at the Cavern Club. Then you have Confidant live at the Liverpool Institute for the Performing Arts. And finally you have Who Cares, which is live at Grand Central Station in New York. So 4 live tracks from 4 different places. Personally, I don't think any of the 4 live up to the studio tracks. I think Paul's weathered voice shows in these tracks, obviously, more than they would and more than they do on the actual studio recordings. So you can do different things in the studio and make your voice work better for you, I think, in Paul's case, on the studio tracks. Anyway, that's my feeling on it. I'm actually glad I picked this up. Like I say, $25 didn't cost me almost $400. And, the only question is, are there going to be more of these? Come on, Paul. If you're out there, my friend, come on. I enjoy these surprises. I enjoy these little extras here, but you're really milking fans. And I know, as I always say, nobody is forced to buy these things. It's not a requirement. You don't have to get them. You don't have to buy one, two, or any of these things if you want. Or you can buy all if you like. But it's hard when you're a fan and you want to get all the songs not to want to pick them up. And you never know what's going to come as you go along. So, is this the end? We don't know. Thanks everybody for watching. Give me your thoughts on the Explorer's edition of Egypt Station.